Hey, my loves. So we begin the next cycle of her mystery school tomorrow, and enrollment will stay open for a couple of weeks after we begin. So it's still open if you're watching this a little bit late and you want to join. In that, what I was thinking today was that I would share a few things with you that I think if I were you and I were considering coming along for this journey, and this is the last year that I'm going to be full time teaching, particularly in the first year, so it's a special year. And I want you to come if you're going to, if you're feeling drawn. But if I were you and I were considering it, there are some things that I think I would want to know, both about the program and about myself. So I'm going to keep this concise. I've written a few things each. You can always ask any questions at support@hermysteryschool.com. But this is what I came up with because the 9 months are really unique, and the school started with the 9 months of the core curriculum the first year, and it has grown to include a second year, which is an advanced kind of initiatory curriculum, and now a third year, which is a self ordination year. So it's become pretty full. There are mentors who are present to support you one on one if you need and want that. We're growing in the direction of offerings for men, and I mean, it's growing. And part of what's happening as I'm releasing full time teaching is that the school itself is taking its wings. You know, this is the 8th year. There are hundreds of women who've come through. There are women who've been with me from the beginning. So it has its own life. I'm giving it wings, and I want you to understand what it is in so that you know if this is for you, because it is a beautiful journey, and there is a lot of heart and a lot of soul and a lot of companionship in it that is rare. And these things, the deep feminine wisdom stream is always present. It flowers in places, right? And it will flower for you in the right way, in the right time, and it will call to you. It'll be a fragrance that calls to you. And this is one of those places. This is a deep well that I'm tending. It's a wisdom stream that I'm tending. And for as long as I tend it, you are welcome to come drink. And I want you to understand a little bit more about what it is and who I am and how I hold it. So there are a couple things just that come up repeatedly. It's a 9 month program, and sometimes women feel intimidated by that. Like, that's a really long commitment. One of the things I would say about it is, I started with these courses on Daily Om, and they were 1 month courses, and they were awesome. And I was, at the time, I was making them in my closet, in the bathroom. I mean, I still do recordings all over the place, but it started from this connection to women specifically, and from the ministry that I had already begun. And it became a 9 month program because that's what it takes to carry us through. And that's what I wanted to create. I wanted to create an architecture that would actually hold a support structure around what it takes, the time that it takes for some of the deeper feminine truths, some of the deeper feminine repairs to happen, to unfurl. So if you're considering it and 9 months feels like a lot, what I would say, and this is kind of the second point here, is it is not one more thing to do. To really understand that this works according to principles of nourishment and support, not one more thing to do, not you are this but you should be that, or maybe you can get to who you always really were. It is a return, and it's a homecoming, and it's a saturation and a reabsorption of your own true nature. That's what's ultimately being guided and being held. So to know that if you're drawn, don't be kind of whatever it would be. Don't be prevented by ideas that you have about how much time or commitment it's going to be. It asks for something, but you get to give it as much as you want, and it will hold you, right? It's really important. And the 9 months, some women are 100% in the whole time. Other women, their lives happen. They might be away from the curriculum for 3 weeks and come back in. And still, I watch year after year that they, within the container, move through enormous shifts and enormous reclamations. There's something about it. They are held regardless. And they'll notice that even if they move away from the curriculum for a minute, because of life circumstances, somehow they're magically still with the curriculum. That's still what's unfolding inside of them. This is made for you, and it's made understanding that we as women hold so much. We don't need one more thing to hold. And we are told to be and asked to be so many things. We don't need one more thing to try to be. So this is a nourishment. And the way to hold the 9 months is not like another 9-month big commitment. It's to hold it as, oh, this is going to hold me for 9 months. I'm going to rest into this. I'm going to listen to these transmissions at bedtime. I'm going to, whatever. I'm going to find my way to drink deep from this well. And it's going to be here for me for 9 whole months. While whatever it is that I sense inside of myself is ready to open, opens and yields to me what it really has for me. So that's one of the aspects of it. And there's another, where the school comes from is, I think, a good question, and it would be hard to entirely answer. My awakening started out of context when I was 18. It's been over 3 decades that I've been in this stream and finding my way through it. So there's a lot that informs this, and I never left it. I've been in spiritual practice and healing practice and training and all this since then. So, a lot of, I would say some of the stronger influence are Sufism and Taoism. Obviously, Deep Feminine, we're obviously bringing in these pieces, some of the interrupted pieces from Deep Feminine lineage and how women have been held in sacred context throughout antiquity. There's a lot in there. Where it comes from, though, in a way, is from my own hidden sacred. I've described it as like pouring out, as if I had a third circulation system in me, just gathering gold. And then at a certain point, I poured it all out into a bowl, and that was the school. And now we all drink from it. It's been a miraculous process. It's been a really intense process. It's not a channeled school. It's not that. There's nothing in the school that I haven't touched directly. And in that, one of the things that I think distinguishes it maybe from other programs is that there's no kind of subtle assumption or subtle request for your allegiance to anything that comes out of my mouth. The way that it's done is that this is all from my hidden sacred. I will speak with authority from that place because it's the only authority I really have. Any of us have. However, in that, what is accomplished in the way that it's held is that you're reflected deeper into your own hidden sacred. So, as I tell women all the time, love what you love in the school. If something doesn't resonate, just discard it, right? If there's a moment, and that happens, women will go through the school, and it's rare that people feel like there's something they just have to throw away. However, we move through a wide terrain of deep feminine sensibilities. Some are going to be really relevant to you at this current life stage and life circumstance. Others not so much. It'll change over time, too. So there's an inclusion in the way that this is held of where we're all at. That's why we're such a diverse community of women. We are all over the world, all over age, race, religion, everything, because the Deep Feminine Wisdom Stream is here for us as women. It is here to serve and inform and fortify us. And it has existed forever for us. So it really doesn't matter. We're all growing up and coming into ourselves in very different circumstances, in the center of very different realms. And what we need in the center of that is this kind of support as women. Right? So that's what it's providing. It's more of like a reflection of you, holding you into deeper and deeper personal revelation in relationship to all that the school holds, all the teachings, all the practices, everything. So that's a little bit about the program. I mean, you can look at it, the specifics of it, more online. You can ask us, but I wanted to address the broader context of it and the way that it works, especially now that I've watched it work for 7 years. Then I did want to address just a few things about me as the guide. There's a way in which I'm not naturally a public person, and I definitely don't share a lot. I won't ever share a whole lot of my personal world publicly. But if I were you and I was considering coming into something like this, I asked myself, what would I really want to know about the guide of that experience? And what it means to me to guide this experience is to hold it, to focalize it. there is a path that we're walking, and many women have walked it before you now, both in antiquity, but also just even in the 7 years since that was created. So there is a path. There are lights lit for you in dark places, right? There are truths. There are beautiful. It's like a treasury of beauty and of remembrance. However, for me, as the guide of it, it really means just that I focalize us, I hold us, and I hold myself to it, and I take the school with you, and we're in it together. But I'm holding I'm standing at the prow of this ship, making sure that we're steady, and we're straight, right? So there is not really an exchange of authority in the same way that there can be an assumption of in some relationships with people who might be considered a spiritual teacher or a spiritual guide, whatever. But I am the guide, and I do hold a shelter. This is a sheltering place. This is a pure stream. That's what I tend. So almost more than, my primary focus is on making sure the stream is pure and making sure it's available to you, right? Knowing and trusting that what is for you is what you're going to drink and take from it, and where you're going to go, how that's going to inform you is in your hidden sacred. It's your deeper wisdom and knowing. So what else did I write? The things I would look for if I was you trying to decide if you wanted to hang out with me for 9 months is I would look first for resonance, I've got I've got a handful of YouTube videos. There are teachings and practices. You can get a sense of me. And on one level, of course, if I'm irritating to you, you wouldn't want to hang out with me for 9 months. That would be level 1. But level 2 would be, are you resonating with something even behind my words? Right? There's something deeper that I'm committed to. There's something deeper that the school is holding. And that's what you want to see if you're drawn to, like something that it's a feeling for that. And it's a resonance with kind of how I hold myself, how you sense I hold myself, and who you become in the mirror of what I'm holding, right? Do you become more of yourself? That's the other thing I would look for in a guide or teacher or anything is when I'm with them or when I'm listening to them or their words or just their presence, does it help me to feel more of myself or more interested in them, right? I started early with a teacher, way early when I was 20, and so I learned early because of the way that experience went that there are a lot of power play that can happen there, and if your eyes aren't on it, it tends to go wrong. So what I would be, I just lost my train of thought thinking about that. What I'm always committed to and what I'm very interested in, and the only reason I'm willing to even hold this role is that I've developed the means to really make sure that it's always returning you to yourself. With me or with anyone else, I hope you hold that as a bar, that there may be, someone may be showing you something you've never known before, taking you somewhere you've never been, hopefully, right? That's what we want. Accessing places inside of you that have long been wanting to be accessed, that have never been quite met before, all these things, that's, yes. But at the end of that exchange, or as a result of that exchange, do you feel fuller? Do you feel returned unto yourself rather than kind of pulled into this other person or their beliefs or anything? Just that piece. I think that's really important. So I would ask that about me if I was going to go on this journey. The final piece that I think is important is, do you want to know what I have in place to make sure that I can hold this role in a good way? And what I can tell you is that I have elders, I have therapists, I have peers, I have a lot of eyes on me as I am holding this and as the school is growing. Because it's necessary. It's both necessary for me to stay in balance as I hold this and as I really respond to what it wants to be, And it's also necessary because there is a certain amount of authority here. There's a certain way in which I'm showing up in a certain role. And there are blessings and dangers to that role. So I would want to know that if I was you. I would want to know, does Jumana have eyes on her that are not mine? Right? Elderhood, does she have people who are supporting her in her role in the same way that she's supporting me in whatever my role is in the world? So those are some thoughts that I had. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that you might want to know. Sometimes I'll get the feedback that I seem a little too young for this. I don't know, that can be a compliment. I'm older than you think, probably. And I started really young. And I don't know that, there's been pros and cons to that as well. But I'm a mom. I've raised a boy up to adulthood. And I've really, actually, this has been my life for 30 years now. So this is what I have for you. This is really, a little bit of who I am. If that helps you to feel more clear, if it helps answer some maybe even some vague questions in the back of your head. Anyway, we start tomorrow. You are welcome to join me. We are offering all sorts of other things. So the 9-month journey is one of the things that we offer, and the deepest, the obviously the most comprehensive. And this is the last year I'm going to teach the first year in a full-time position. And we'll stay open for 2 weeks after we actually begin. Enrollment remains open. So one way or the other, it's nice to be with you. It's nice to know you a little better, maybe-ish, and for you to know me a little bit better. Let us know if you need anything or if you want to join. Blessed be.